Welcome back, creepers.
Welcome.
So we don't have a lot of stuff to talk about. We just got here. We're recording so we're doing it wild. Right
Hopefully. Hopefully.
So far, so good. So far, so good. So we took a little bit of hiatus. Got a whole nother episode recorded. So we're going to try and start back up, pick up from where we would have.
The history.
So we went and toured Jamestown. And
we are disappointed.
So disappointed. My fourth grade teacher, God rest her soul. I don't even think it was her fault. I don't think it was her fault.
It's the schools.
It's the schools. They're not doing us justice. They
are not.
What happened? They had a whole exhibit I knew nothing about. I lived my entire how am I today years old? I'm 47 years old and just found this place out. The actual my blow.
I was so mad.
And
how did my fourth grade self not see all this stuff? I want to call the schools and just complain as a fourth grader.
And be like, I was gypped.
Of course.
I'm going to call the police.
Of course. Because we came across so much.
Oh my God. Her phone was mad at me. I had like 3% battery when we
I think I had like 21. I mean, it was horrible. But again, the experience was great. Like, we walked and walked and walked and
10
walked.
out of 10, recommend.
Yeah.
Wear comfortable shoes,
plenty of water. Maybe not go in, one of the hottest weekends.
Yeah, maybe not do that. Maybe not go when it's like 200 degrees.
But I really felt gypped as we walked around. I was gypped. I was like, oh, we're just going to go to the settlement and see everything that we've seen before.
50 million times.
50 times.
No.
We came across so much more.
And y'all, they really have done so much. I mean, even the last time I really went to Jamestown, I think was in the early aughts. Yeah. Like 99, 2000. The last time I went to Jamestown, really.
I've took my kids there. I want to say the last time I went was probably 2010, maybe 2011. Maybe. Took my kids.
Okay, yeah.
My kids really enjoyed it. So
I went with my son when he went on.
I
went with him on a field trip.
I take that back. Okay, now that you said field trip, woo! So probably about 2014, maybe.
Yeah.
That's probably when my daughter went with her class. And I still feel gypped.
Right.
I feel gypped for her.
Right. So we're going to start off talking about Jamestown settlement. And I've written this whole thing out, and I'm so proud of myself, y'all. I'm a Disney princess at heart.
I'm a villain.
I'm coming into my era. I'm coming in.
I've been there.
They're misunderstood. They're just misunderstood.
If you want to say that.
So, well, with the Disney's thing in mind, if it wasn't for Disney coming out with the Pocahontas movie, and in 1607 we sailed the open sea for glory, God, and gold, the Virginia Company. That helped me pass my history test. And it's still stuck in my head to this day.
That's crazy.
So, yeah. I'm not joking either. That literally did help me pass my history test. So as the entire film has its version of events, which
are not true.
No.
Not true.
Some of them,
I'm sorry, Disney. I love you, but
some of them
true.
Versions have no place in actual history.
Yeah.
But let's break it down. So in 1607, the ships, the Susan Constant, Godspeed, and the Discovery reached the Chesapeake Bay on April 26, 1607. before settling in Jamestown on May 13th, 1607. However, they departed England on December 20th, 1606. So they spent about 144 days on the open sea before they reached land.
We had this discussion when we saw the map of why they went down around Africa and
logically
not just
speaking,
across.
You think it would make more sense to just go straight across. But no.
Do you remember what happened to the big boat that went across? We never saw it again. It's at the bottom of the ocean.
Right.
Titanic.
Okay, man.
Maybe that's why they didn't cross the sea like that.
300 years later, how would they know?
Maybe they just knew. Ship, stars, and moon and sun. I don't know, but they made it. Titanic did not.
Fair. So I mentioned that they had reached the Chesapeake Bay on April 26, 1607. That is when they landed at what we now call First Landing, which is located on a military base, Fort Story, in Virginia Beach, which we will be going to.
Yep.
There's a whole plan on that. That's coming. Where the first lighthouse of the United States sits. And no worries, we'll get into this later. So back to Jamestown. So in 1607, they arrived to the New World after a long, arduous journey across the Atlantic Ocean, which they did not go straight across. They went down around Africa. Went around their thumb. But whatever.
They needed to do that
because they didn't have the technology that we have now that we could figure it out and be like, hey, it's so easy. They had to rely on so much. I'm amazed.
Yeah.
That we have society. So, they did take a more southern route, stopping in the Canary Islands for supplies, like you said. So most of the ships returned to London. However, the Discovery remained in Virginia. As the ships would sail back and forth many times, a faster route was discovered by Captain Samuel Argall in 1609. But this route only took 9 weeks and 6 days, helping them save on provisions and avoid Spanish ships. However, the weather and currents of the ocean played the biggest part in the length of time it took for them to navigate the Atlantic. I put in my notes, of course it does, because how are you going to sail without wind?
It's not blowing.
So I did mention First Landing State Park is in Virginia Beach, and it's named for the 1607 landing of English colonists. And as such, it is not only a natural landmark, but also a historic place. This park, however, used to be known as Seashore State Park, and from its creation in the 1930s by the Civilian Conservation Corps until about 1997, when they wanted to note its historical significance. This was also done to commemorate the 400th anniversary of the landing of Jamestown. So many of the locals, if you go around and you get lost, and need directions, if you refer to it as Seashore State Park, they'll know where to send you. But First Landing State Park has all sorts of activities: hike, swim, bike, kayak, fish, so much more. They even have camping accommodations like cabins, yurts. They have campsites. If you're into that sort of thing, if you listen to Morbid, you're like me, and Fresh Air is for dead people, but that's just how I feel.
Glamping.
I mean, I can get down with some glamping.
I like camping on my terms.
You know?
Camping on my terms. I would have died.
It's my turn. It's the my turn part for me. It's got to be on my. I need to be able to wash my butt. I'm sorry.
She just didn't, but she did. Mine is more so about the boogies. Like, I'm a tomboy at heart. I can get down with them. But when it comes to bugs and stuff like that, I just want to be safe.
Thanks.
That's my biggest thing is.
I've been bit by so many ticks
spiders, ticks. Yeah, I'm kind of done. And I'm old. I don't want to get down on the ground and sleep. Give me a nice comfy bed or a blow up mattress. Heck,
Something
I'm
a little
easy.
bit more comfortable than the dirt. So I did talk about the Cape Henry Lighthouse earlier. It's located on an active military base, Fort Story, in Virginia Beach. It was the first lighthouse commissioned by the United States government. So therefore, it's authorized by George Washington in 1789. As it sits on an active military base, you must pass through the base security before you can tour the Cape Henry Lighthouse. You can go all the way up to the top of the lighthouse. Visiting the site includes the 1792 tower. You can climb to the top of that lighthouse, like I said. Views of the 1881 replacement tower and the museum. Fun fact, it was authorized by George Washington and overseen by Alexander Hamilton. My mom told me this joke, and I have waited so long to use this, and I'm waiting to see her reaction. According to Mom, so that was the government's first erection.
Oh my Jesus! Oh my Jesus! I cannot. Thanks, Deb. Oh my gosh! I told you I had I'm surprised your mom didn't say it yesterday when we were with
I said, please don't.
Saturday.
I was like, please don't.
Oh Jesus, that is so funny. Oh geez.
So the lighthouse is located near the first landing site, which is believed to be where the English settlers first set foot on their way to settle into Jamestown. And visiting that site is included in touring the lighthouse. And the light is part of the National Battlefield Park Tour. So, as I learned when we did Jamestown, if you are a veteran or you are a senior or you have medical disability like insulin dependency, stuff like that, you can get a free lifetime National Battlefield Pass. And it's free.
Yeah.
You get admission into all parks. Anything over that, you obviously have to pay. I think it's a reduced rate. You still have to pay.
Yeah. And there are some steps that you have to take to get to it. So,
right.
I mean.
But it is definitely worth it. And when we were talking about when we went to Jamestown, we felt gypped. Why we felt gypped is because there's a whole secondary site that is overseeing, it's not the settlement, the recreation where we've always thought that it was, where it actually happened. Where they actually
They're still digging.
They're still excavating it. Yes. They found, y'all, they found like the remnants of the kilns and the fires where they would make their glass and their copper. I mean, their copper, their pots and their
cups and any type of jars, things like that,
and stuff. And I'm like,
but a fun fact again is that just like Jamestown and most of the places around there that we found, they burned down, and it was rebuilt. So you just have to keep in mind that a lot of those places down there have been burned, rebuilt.
Yep. So the original Cape Henry Lighthouse did not burn down. It is built with the same aqueous sandstone as much of Washington, D.C. is built with. For almost 100 years, this lighthouse guided sea travelers safely around the shore until the distinctive black and white striped new Cape Henry Lighthouse was built in 1881. However, that one is closed to the public. But in 1896, a tablet was placed on the tower to mark the site of the first landing. And again, this location is on an active military base. So please adhere to all guidelines posted on their website. You can check in at Gate 8, 89th Street, and Atlantic Avenue. And I will link their website in the show notes. Valid government-issued ID for every guest over 16 and proof of vehicle registration or a rental agreement. No firearms, weapons, or illegal substances. Again, it is an active military base. They do have an admission fee. I'm not recollecting exactly what the cost was, but again, like I said, if you have, I do believe they also participate in for all. A lot of people around here participate in museums for all. If you have like Medicaid, SNAP, or EBT benefits like WIC, you can get a discounted or free mission.
Which is a great way to get out. It's summertime. Get the kids off the tablets, the phones.
That's what we did. Take them to these history places.
Yeah. My kids.
We can't take our kids anymore. That's why we're starting. We're taking you guys.
We're taking y'all are all of our children because we're doing this for y'all.
So we did, like, the whole thing that started this was I had seen something on TikTok or something about the Ambler family ruins. And I was like, what?
Where is that?
Where is that? In Jamestown? I never heard anything about this. So Jamestown was founded in 1607. And for quite a while, it was the center of everything. It used to be the capital of Virginia before they moved it to Williamsburg. So in 1699, the hub relocated from Jamestown to Williamsburg, like I said, as did the capital. With this move, the economy of Jamestown steadily declined. But the Ambler family flourished and even dominated the western end of the island by the beginning of the 19th century. So throughout the later part of the 17th century, it was William Sherwood and Edward Jacqueline that were the predominant landholders on Jamestown Island.
Yeah, because there are only two families that survived on the island, basically. The east belonged to the Travises, and the west belonged to the Ambler.
Right.
838 acres.
So Sherwood passed in 1697, and his lands were added to Jackson. And these combined estates were passed to Richard Ambler when he wed Elizabeth Jacqueline in 1724.
Inherited.
Yeah.
A
lot of land. So Richard Ambler moved from England to Virginia in 1716, and he settled in Yorktown. It is believed that he may have contacted a maternal uncle by the name of, let's pronounce this, I just know it, Burkadik, Burkadik, who immigrated to Virginia in 1694. It's believed that Ambler inherited his first property from this uncle. In 1724, found Richard Ambler improving his status and wealth by marrying Elizabeth Jacqueline, whom was the heiress to the large tract of land on Jamestown Island. This inheritance was turned over to him in 1739, marking the start of the Ambler domination of the western end of Jamestown Island. So between 1731 and 1750, Richard and Elizabeth had 9 children, 6 boys and 3 girls. Unfortunately, only 3 of the boys lived to reach adulthood. John, who was born in 1734 and died in 1766, Edward from 1733 to 1768, and Jacqueline from 1742 to 1798. All 3 had the best education. John and Edward attended Cambridge, and Jacqueline graduated from William and Mary in Williamsburg. On April 29, 1724, Richard assumed the important position of collector for the port of the York River. The duties of his position required him to execute as well as enforce the Navigation Act passed by Parliament for the regulation of colonial trade, reporting any violations to Great Britain. It was also his job to collect taxes, and the king rewarded him handsomely for this. So Richard's son succeeded him as collector, with John being first, followed by Edward and Jacqueline ending the line. Even though Richard focused on his Yorktown business, he continued to acquire land on Jamestown, although little is known about his farming of the land. It was their presence there until the 1800s that was so important to the upkeep of the island. In 1766, when Richard died, the estate was divided between his three sons. Edward, being the oldest, was bequeathed his holdings on Main Street in Yorktown. John got most of the Jamestown holdings and also got a seat in the House of Burgesses. Jacqueline succeeded his brother Edward as collector of Yorktown. He also inherited various properties in Jamestown and Yorktown. Edward passed in 1768, and his widow Mary and their children continued to reside on Jamestown Island until the American Revolution. Jacqueline was very much a patriot during the Revolution, serving on Virginia's Council of State in 1780 and as treasurer of Virginia from 1782 until he died in 1798. Richard Ambler's granddaughter married John Marshall, a future Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court. We've all heard about John Marshall. Yep. The Ambler House is believed to have been built in 1750 along Baxter, 350 yards east of the church. The Amblers preferred to call their home a mansion, which they say was a slight exaggeration. We stood in them ruins, and I don't think it was an exaggeration in the least.
Think that they were exaggerating. I guess now, if you were to look at a mansion nowadays, it could be on the smaller side, but 838 acres, and the ruins were everywhere.
Everywhere.
So I would love to actually see a picture of how this house was set up.
That house was bigger. The ruins were bigger than the shell. No, we built our house. Yeah. So I came out here every week or whatever to see the progress. I know what the shell with the bricks and the foundation looked like. You could easily fit 4 to 5 of my houses. And I have a decent sized house, about 1,500 square feet. 4 to 5 of my houses in the ruins of that house. I'd say is a pretty accurate statement.
I would agree. I would say nowadays it might have been on the smaller side. Yeah, the mansion is built with today, but
for back then,
still was huge.
Still, yeah. So they say it's a slight exaggeration. I agree to disagree.
Yeah.
The home was burned during the Revolution, but luckily was restored by Colonel John Ambler. But then during the Civil War, it got burned again. But they restored it again. And then it was burned again.
3 burns, I'm done.
In 1895, when it burned a third time, they did not restore it. They said, forget it. It was at that time that it belonged to David Bullock, who bought the Ambler and Travis holdings on the island in 1831. Like we said, they were the last two families left there. We went and saw. It's a creepy. It was so just
the graves
right there at the Travis family site. That it was a heavy feeling. It wasn't really like.
It was a little weird for me.
It was like, why are you here?
Yeah, there was. It's a pretty spot. I mean, it is a beautiful spot. Close to the river, the creek, river, whatever was flowing through there. They have markers, I believe, that where the house stood.
I thought that. I mean, that's what it looked like. It may have been.
Like, I think maybe it's on the picture of where it tells you. I think in the bottom it shows like a picture of it. There's 3 of them there, and again, it's a beautiful spot. But like you said, the heaviness of they just want to rest in peace. And you can clearly see that it's maintained, but not maintained. Weather, time, corrosion.
And it looks like they've redone the gravestones. And I think I read somewhere about they had to like vandalism and over
Yeah, because it's
time,
open to
weather
the
and stuff.
public, but I mean, it's just there. It's kind of when you're pulling around onto the island, there is pull-off areas that you can visit or see plants where
How many times do
things
we see the plants?
yeah, like 5 or 6, but we won't say anything. But you can drive. There's a long route and then there's a short route, and I would say, probably each half a mile, maybe to a mile on the island, have a pull off. And it tells you about, what it is. And we just happened to pull off at the Travis and that's where the graveyard is. And you have to read that marker to know that that's actually where they're located. And I mean, graveyards are kind of eerie in their own, but just to have 3 just sitting there,
I don't
like
know. It's just weird.
it's almost like you were invading.
Yeah.
Invading privacy. And so, it is beautiful. It is. It's very green, and you can see, like I said, there's plaque markers, where the house may have stood. And again, it's close to the water, so of course those gravestones have probably been redone quite a few times. But again, they owned the east part of the island, and the west went to the Ambler family. And when you go to plug in your GPS Ambler family mansion ruin, I'm just going to give you here's a hint. Stop at the center.
Stop at the battlefield center and
talk to them and pay your fee and walk across the walkway, and you'll come to the ruin. Like, it was breathtaking because, again, I felt gypped my whole life, never knew this existed. I don't think I've ever been on the island at all. The glass house.
Oh my gosh, the glass house, standing on that shore. It's like with a picnic, where that little bench was.
Yeah.
You were like, I could just sit here forever. And I'm just sitting there thinking, I'm like, how many times have
settlers,
colonialists,
back
in the day, how many times did they stand here and look out at the scene view that I'm looking out at?
Yeah, it again, that was a beautiful area. I mean, it's well taken care of down there. I just think that on the island itself, you can park, walk, you can run, you can, bike. But again, I kind of felt gypped the whole time.
Yeah.
Once we went past Jamestown and just kept going, then you come to the glass house, you come to the battlefield center, you come to the island. And again, everything is it's a wonderment kind of thing for me, because I think about the people, like you said, standing on shore. You think about what it was like being on that boat for so many days.
Right.
And then you get off this land and walk up onto this land, not knowing what was there. And just being in awe, and like standing in that spot. How many people were standing in that spot, and how many people visit Jamestown over the years and the years and the years? I mean, I'm 47, but I went in 4th grade. I had to be 10, 11, 12. And and just thinking about it's still there. It's still history. It's still like amazement to me, even though I've been to Jamestown so many times. Again, I take my kids, we go, history.
And I love the fact that it's like we've never been to the glass house.
No,
but the
never.
fact that you can go down there and you can buy
glass that
they're hand making right in front of you.
Let me tell you, they have this pretty vase. Oh my gosh, it was so cute. So cute. And all the every piece that they make, no two are alike.
Yep.
That's my biggest thing is like when I bought my piece of glass ornament, I looked at the one underneath of it and I could see the imperfections of mine. And being that I'm weird and I like difference, I got the one that had the imperfections, because that's somebody's hard work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we sat there and watched them blow. They were doing pineapple. And to see all the like intricate details.
And how hot. It was hot AF outside anyway.
It was like 95 degrees outside.
With like 3,000% humidity.
Yeah. But to see all the stuff that they have had hand blown, vases, cups. They have a piece of glass that they do every year.
Mm-hmm.
So this year it was like a big pitcher bowl thing. But again, you can buy. They have all these types of glass out there, wine glasses, you know, pitchers. Yeah, like it was. And again, I felt gypped. Never been there my entire life. Didn't even know it existed until we saw the sign for it and was like, hey, let's just go down here.
What's this?
Yeah, like it's.
But you know, that's how all best events start.
It has to be because again, the Poe Museum went with you. For my children that are listening, because I love history. So Jamestown is one of those just things that you have to go out there and you have to open yourself up to actually learning about what went on there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you're walking through the longhouses and you're looking at the canoes and
you gotta be careful though. Then make sure that your back handles have been down.
Yeah.
To get in them houses.
To get into the houses.
Mom struggle.
But we did, you know, walk around and I did have my own little experience and I know that in the governor's building, they do have a building within the structure of Jamestown and inside the walls. And most of the stuff has burnt down and they've redone it and things like that just to kind of give you an experience. But I walked into the governor's to look at the bed because I was like infatuated with this bed when I walked in. And I'm just standing there looking at it and I'm trying to picture royalty, you know, something because it looked very extravagant. And all of a sudden on my left leg, across my leg went a pebble, probably the size of a dime. Nobody was around. I looked around to see if it had fallen from above me.
No, and then you
and then I was like, Amy,
did you throw this at me?
Did you like pick something to me? And nobody was in the room with me.
I was I was in the other building. I wasn't even in that same building.
Like nobody was in the house with me at all. And I was sitting there and felt that. And I was just kind of like, okay, like somebody trying to get my attention. But, you know, it's a lot of walking, but it's also a lot of history. And then once you finish the outside, you can go. We chose to do outside first, and then museum.
Oh yeah,
museum. Museum was. Oh God, it's just again. I'm such a history nerd.
Much information
that there's just so much that they don't tell you about in school anymore. Like I went when I was in 4th grade. My daughter went when she was in 4th grade. And some of the stuff that you bypass as a child that you catch as an adult sits very different with me. Just learning about, you know, what Virginia was actually called, you know.
I can't even pronounce it.
I had to look it up and listen to it, somebody say it, but it's Seneca or something like that.
Okay.
But I never knew that. Like, you know, it's just
like you said, we've been pronouncing Powhatan's name wrong.
Yeah.
How did you say we pronounce it? Because
we were butchering, and I apologize. Again, I had to listen to this. Wahansika, I think is how they pronounced it. Again, not up on my native tongue, but every time I go, I feel like I come back with something new that I could learn. And that's kind of my reason for being anyway, is to better myself. And every time that I can learn something new, I absorb it like a sponge. Again, if you go down to Jamestown, take a day. Go and just walk around the settlement, walk through the museum, go to the glass house, go to the island, go, just open your mind and absorb. Because again, I felt gypped my whole life as a child, because I never had been to the glass house, the island, or anything past the settlement.
I hadn't either.
And it's so much more than just a settlement.
It is. It's a lot more, and it
was a long day.
It was a very long day.
We got there at like almost 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
And we didn't leave until like 4:15-ish.
And
we walked the whole time.
I'm sure that there's so much we didn't see.
Yeah, we should have like some more of those places and just kind of hike. And I will say, you're going to go out to the island.
Take bug spray.
Take bug spray, wear hiking boots, some pants. Because some of those trails, because it is swampy and because it's overgrown, some of those trails and things, you want to protect yourself from bites, things like that, spiders. You don't know what's out there. I mean, again, I could probably go back and pull off at each one of those and learn something that I never knew from just going there to learn about Native Americans.
Thanks.
I mean,
I'm sure. I mean, but that's the thing. Always be learning.
Yeah.
Always be learning.
Hey, that's how I grow.
Well, with that, until the next adventure,
keep creeping it real.